Yo, yo, yo. What's up, YouTube? This is me, your boy Devontae, the DC guy react to, back again with a brand new video. And it's been quite some time since I did a video, so I'm here to let you know I'm back, and I'm a steady, be focused. So in this particular video, I wanted to kind of dive into this whole topic of Eminem and Snoop Dogg, and what Snoop Dogg said about Eminem, about that Snoop Dogg doesn't consider Eminem he's not in Snoop Dogg's personal top 10 as far as like I guess hot MC or the lyricist or whatever the case may be. And I've been kind of like going back and forth debating with individuals, particularly on YouTube, about like what's the whole issue. Like, why do so many people have an issue with Snoop Dogg saying that Eminem is not on his personal top 10 hip hop list? Now, mind you, I am an Eminem fan, and I'm also a Snoop Dogg fan. And me being a 90s baby, on top of that, I kind of grew up more like around Snoop Dogg, like ever since I was probably like 3 or 4. That's the youngest I can remember. That I remember hearing Snoop Dogg on the radio, like Gin and Juice, Nothing But a G Thing, songs with Dr. Dre, whatever. So Snoop Dogg always been around my childhood. I didn't really hear Eminem till probably like, well, when I was in elementary school, probably like about 8, 9, 10 years old, I remember hearing Lose Yourself on MTV. They kept playing that song over and over and over. You couldn't even go nowhere. You couldn't, every time you flick the channel, it's either 8 Mile commercial or Lose Yourself is being played on the commercial or whatever. So, and I remember the kids, like my classmates used to always sing, hi, my name is, or I'm Slim Shady, just because it was a catchy, goofy song. So it was a lot of children could kind of relate, or not relate, but they could kind of gravitate towards that type of poppy type music. So, but this whole thing started when Snoop Dogg appeared, of course, on the Breakfast Club via webcam, and they asked him about who's his top 10 lyricists, and I can't quite remember what made him throw Eminem in the bus, but he named like a few, like mostly like people from the 80s, like, Big Daddy Kane and Rakim and even Ice Cube and a few others. And, I never really heard Rakim music like that. I know like 1 or 2 songs, but I always, people gave him mad respect, so I know he pretty much has certified himself as a hip-hop lyricist. So anyway, my take on it was why people shouldn't be so upset about Snoop Dogg saying that, because Snoop Dogg he's been out longer than Eminem, so he has the right to feel that way. He has the right to say, oh, Eminem is, quote unquote, the great white hope or whatever. And I think a lot of people kind of looked at it like they thought that Snoop Dogg was being like, I guess, throwing shots or having shade towards him because he's white. And I don't think that's the case. He's just saying it with how he feels. Snoop Dogg, and you gotta remember, Snoop Dogg is a gangster rapper. He's a gangster rapper. He grew up in California and Long Beach. He's not like Kid Cudi or Drake or nothing like that. He's a gangster rapper. He was on a murder charge. He shot people or shot at people. People pretty sure shot at him. He's a Crip. He's a gang member. He's in that world. So, do you really think that Eminem could kind of be on Snoop Dogg's playlist, like while he riding around smoking his weed? You think he really sitting there like, oh man, Eminem, I'm gonna pop that Eminem in? I highly doubt it. And I'm sure Snoop Dogg respects Eminem. As a matter of fact, he even said it himself that he respects Eminem, but that's just not his top 10 lyricists, and you gotta give credit. Now, me being an Eminem fan, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really get into Eminem until probably like 2009, around 2009 when he dropped Relapse album. And the reason why was because, like, I knew about Eminem, of course, but I never was really into him, growing up. I was more into like DMX and Ice Cube, NWA, Tupac, Wu-Tang Clan. Like, those are the people that I listen to because I feel like I can sort of relate to them, to an extent. But I never felt like I could relate to Eminem, so I never paid attention to him like that. But I always thought he was pretty dope, But around 2009, that's when he dropped the Relapse album. And I remember this before I even had the internet, cable, and all that stuff. So, well, not the cable, but I didn't have a computer or a laptop. So YouTube wasn't easily accessible at the time. So probably like, 2009, I'm 16 years old. Yeah, I'm 17 years old. And, my senior year in high school and stuff like that. So I remember they had like a marathon on MTV. It was like MTV Rewind, where they were showing like all of Eminem's old school big hits or whatever, singles. So I just sat there, I was bored in the house. I said, let me watch this. So I sat back like, damn, you know, Eminem was entertaining to watch because during that time, that's when you had like Young Money, Cash Money, like Drake, Lil Wayne was like everywhere. Kanye West, they was all over the place. Whenever you talk about hip hop, Nicki Minaj, that's all that people was talking about. So I said, let me kind of go over here and see what's up. So when I heard Eminem, then he just released the Relapse and then had the song 3 a.m. And I got a chance to listen to the album. I said, oh man, Eminem is actually dope lyrically. Like, he's a monster. He's a monster. Like, I actually sat back and just studied the whole album. I was like, man, I was really impressed. And then the fact that the Relapse album particularly was like a horrorcore, like, you know, like horror, like fantasy, serial killer, all that type of stuff. You know, like Jason. So, you know, that attracted to me because I just thought it was something different. It was something interesting, you know, not just talk about, I call it Nan the Boo Boo music, where they just talk about how much clothes they got, how many women they slept with. Like, you know, that's boring. You know, you hear it all the time. So Eminem was doing something different, and I respected him for that. Of course, I'm not white. I didn't come from, you know, the trailer park environment or whatever. So in that aspect, I can't relate. But then in some aspects, I can relate to Eminem, like, you know, growing up in a single parent home and yada, 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 you know. So certain things I can be like, okay, I can see where Eminem coming from. And just wanting to prove yourself to people. You know, you don't want people to box you in. So I respected Eminem for that. And I thought he did a great job on just murdering all the albums that he pretty much put. Now, when it comes to Snoop Dogg feels like home. When I think about Snoop Dogg, I think about fun. I think about like good times. I think about partying, drinking, whatever, you know, just having fun. Of course, Snoop Dogg's earlier music was all just straight West Coast gangster hip hop. You know, then of course, like by the mid 2000s, he started to kind of transition to like reggae and this. He even did a gospel album recently, I think about a year ago. Back in 2013, he did the Snoop Lion, which he became like Rastafarian, like vibes, Jamaican vibes, or whatever you want to call it, no disrespect. So Snoop Dogg always constantly kind of grew as an artist. You know, he didn't stay on just gangster rap box. You know, he always kept growing and doing things different, which I respected him for that. And Eminem is just always like just straight lyrics, like do 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 da 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 da. Now, now as an Eminem fan, I will admit his earlier stuff, like Marshall Mathers, the Slim Shady, the Eminem Show, all that stuff, Encore, the Relapse, those were probably Eminem's best work. Of course, he's probably grown as far as expanding his vocabulary and using certain words that average people don't really pay attention to unless you like a wordsmith type of guy or gal. But you know, I just kind of fell off with Eminem, like Recovery Era and all that. Like, I was listening to it, but I wasn't like impressed. I wasn't like, oh my god, you know. I enjoyed it, but I was just like, you know. It's like Eminem set the bar so high for us up that at this point, the last time he impressed me was probably Rap God. Rap God was probably the last time Eminem really impressed me lyrically. I was like, oh snap, he said all them words in this, da 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 da, you know. So anyway, I still like Eminem. Don't get me wrong, it's not like I gave up on him or nothing, but I'm just not like into him like I was back when I was 17, 18 years old. Snoop Dogg, I actually found myself listening to more of his music now, especially when he recently was on the Verses with DMX, which was pretty dope, and it just reminded me how lyrical Snoop Dogg is as well. And I saw a lot of people trying to say Snoop Dogg isn't lyrical. All he talks about is weed and stuff. I said, do you actually pay attention to what Snoop Dogg said? You can even go back to the verses where he did a freestyle on the spot, and he killed it. Like, as far as hip hop goes, he killed it, you know. Snoop Dogg doesn't get his respect because I think people look at him more like too commercial. Like, he's, you know, he was on Soul Plane, he was in this movie, that movie, he was in Bones. You know, he doing shows with Martha Stewart or whatever. So I think people forgot to respect him, Snoop Dogg, in that aspect. But Eminem, he's definitely a legend. He's amongst the lyrical elites. Now, is he the king of hip hop? Who is the king of hip hop? I don't even think there is a king of hip hop, because you have so many different people, different cultures that enjoy hip hop that everybody gonna say who their favorite rapper is, who's the king of hip hop. People gonna say Ice Cube is, people gonna say Snoop, people gonna say Tupac is, some people gonna say Biggie Smalls is the king of hip hop. Biggie Smalls only did 2 albums, but anyway, so that's the interesting thing about this whole debate. I definitely would like to do a part 2 and have like some other people chime in, and you know, we can kind of dig deep into the whole Snoop Dogg versus Eminem. Now, I'm not sitting here saying Snoop Dogg is better than Eminem or Eminem is better than Snoop Dogg, because it's like, in what aspect? is Eminem. He had better songs back in his old music, like content wise, and it was like songs like "Cleaning Out My Closet." Like that was a very pretty, diverse hip hop song. But now it's like it's like, what is he talking about now? Like. But anyway, so that was my take. This is just part one of the whole Snoop Dogg versus Eminem debate. I know I'm like a few weeks late because the topic is almost old, but I just kind of wanted to spark that back up and kind of like talk more, just kind of dive into it. So if anybody would like to chime in and have any questions, let me know. Like the video, subscribe if you must. Have a great one. Peace.